The sun was setting over Umugu when Osandu's parents took him to Master Ukadike's house. The trader's compound was big, with high mud walls and a wooden gate that creaked as it opened. Ukadike sat on a wooden stool, chewing on a kola nut. His belly was round from eating good food, and his wrapper was tied loosely around his waist. He looked at Osandu from head to toe, then turned to the boy's father. "Are you sure this one can work?" he asked, spitting a kola nut shell to the ground. "Yes, master," Osandu's father said quickly. "He is strong, and he learns fast." Osandu's mother placed a hand on her son's shoulder. "Master Ukadike, please train him well. He is our only hope." Ukadike rubbed his chin and nodded. "Good. The boy will serve me for 7 years. In the end, I will settle him with money and goods to start his own trade." Osandu's father sighed in relief. "Thank you, master. May the gods bless you." Osandu clenched his fists. 7 years was a long time, but he did not mind. One day he would have his own shop, just like Master Ukadike. But as he watched the trader's eyes gleam with something unreadable, he had no idea what was coming. The first morning in Master Ukadike's house, Osandu woke up to a harsh voice. "Get up, lazy boy!" Before he could open his eyes properly, a hard knock landed on his back. He jumped to his feet, heart pounding. The trader's oldest servant, Ibuka, stood over him with a frown. "Go and sweep the shop before the master wakes up," Ibuka ordered. Osandu hurried outside, grabbed a broom, and swept as fast as he could. The air was still cold, but his sweat dripped as he worked. The rest of the day was worse. He carried heavy sacks of yams on his back, walked long distances to deliver goods, and scrubbed the shop floor until his fingers hurt. At night, when he was finally done, he collapsed on the cold ground outside the shop. His stomach growled with hunger, but all he had eaten was a small piece of dry bread. Still, he smiled. "Hard work is good," he whispered to himself. "One day, I will have my own shop." But things only got harder. Ukadike was never satisfied. If Osandu arranged the goods, the trader would scatter them and make him do it again. If he counted the money, Ukadike would accuse him of stealing, even when nothing was missing. One evening, after Osandu had worked all day without rest, he finally spoke. "Master, please, I am hungry." Ukadike's eyes darkened. "Hungry!" He picked up a bone from his plate and threw it at Osandu. "Eat that!" Osandu looked down at the dirty bone. His throat felt tight, but he said nothing. As the years passed, his back grew stronger, his hands rougher. He learned how to trade, how to bargain, how to keep track of money. But as the 7th year drew close, one question remained in his heart. Would Master Ukadike keep his promise? The day Osandu had waited for finally came. 7 long years. He woke up early, his heart pounding with excitement. Today, he would receive what he had worked so hard for. Today, his life would change forever. With a deep breath, he stepped into Master Ukadike's big house. The trader sat on his wooden stool, chewing on a stick. His stomach was round from eating too much, and his wrapper barely covered it. Osandu knelt before him. "Master, the 7 years are over. I have served you well. Please settle me as you promised." Ukadike removed the stick from his mouth and looked at Osandu with amusement. Then suddenly he threw his head back and laughed. The sound was loud and cruel. "Settle you?" he scoffed. "Did I not feed you? Did I not clothe you? What more do you want?" Osandu's body turned cold. His hands began to shake. "But master, you promised. You said after 7 years you would give me money and goods to start my own trade." Ukadike's eyes turned sharp. He leaned forward. "And who will force me to do that? Huh? If you want money, go and make your own." Osandu's heart shattered. His legs felt weak, but he managed to stand. His voice was quiet but firm. "This is not right, master. I worked hard. I never stole from you. I never disrespected you." Ukadike waved his hand. "Enough! I have no more use for you. Get out of my house!" Osondu stood frozen. He had no money, no shop, no home. Where would he go? News of the betrayal spread through the village like Harmattan fire. The elders gathered at the village square and summoned Ukadike. The oldest among them, Neji, pointed a wrinkled finger at him. "A promise must be kept," Neji said. "The spirits do not take kindly to wickedness." Ukadike only smirked. "Spirits? Ha! I am the richest trader in this village. What can the spirits do to me?" The elders looked at one another. Ukadike was too proud, too greedy. There was nothing more they could do. With heavy steps and tears in his eyes, Osondu walked away. His dreams had been crushed, his future stolen. But he did not know that fate was watching. Osondu walked for hours, not knowing where he was going. His legs ached, his stomach rumbled. His head felt light, but he kept moving. He found himself deep in the forest, surrounded by tall trees. The air was thick and quiet, except for the distant cry of an owl. Suddenly, he saw something ahead. Under a giant iroko tree, an old man sat on a small wooden stool. His beard was long and white, reaching his chest. His eyes were sharp, but kind. The old man raised his head. "Why do you cry, my son?" Osondu wiped his face quickly, ashamed of his tears. "I am not crying," he said. The old man chuckled. "Then why do your eyes look like they have seen sorrow?" Osondu sighed. He dropped to the ground and told the old man everything. How he had worked for 7 years. How Master Ukadike had refused to settle him. How the elders had tried to help, but nothing changed. The old man listened, nodding slowly. When Osondu finished, there was silence. Then, the old man reached into the small bag tied around his waist and pulled out a single cowrie shell. He placed it in Osondu's palm. Osondu frowned. "What is this?" The old man smiled. "Power." Osondu looked at the shell again. It was small and smooth, nothing special. He shook his head. "I don't understand." The old man leaned forward. His voice was low but firm. "Tonight, go to your master's shop at midnight. Hold this shell in your hand and call his name 3 times. Osondu stared at him. "But how will that help?" The old man only smiled. "Just do as I say." Osondu opened his mouth to ask another question, but when he looked down at the shell again, something strange happened. The air around him suddenly felt colder. The wind whispered through the trees. When he looked up, the old man was gone. Osondu's heart pounded. Something was about to happen. Something big. The night was dark and silent. The moon hid behind the clouds, as if it did not want to see what was about to happen. Osondu moved carefully, his bare feet pressing against the cool earth. He had never stolen anything in his life. But this was not stealing. This was justice. His hands shook as he reached Master Ukadike's shop. The large wooden doors were locked with a heavy chain. Osondu swallowed hard. Could the old man's words be true? Slowly, he brought out the cowrie shell. His heart pounded. If someone saw him, they would call him a thief. If Ukadike caught him, he would be beaten. But he had no choice. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Ukadike, Ukadike, Ukadike." At first, nothing happened. Then, the ground trembled beneath his feet. The chains on the door rattled and snapped apart. The doors swung open with a loud creak. Osondu's mouth fell open. Inside the shop, something strange was happening. Yams rolled into sacks on their own. Palm oil sealed itself in barrels. Bags of salt tied themselves. Gold coins leaped from their hiding places and landed neatly into a bag. Osondu watched in shock. His hands trembled. The shop was emptying itself before his very eyes. He looked around quickly. Nobody was watching. The village was asleep. He grabbed as much as he could, bags of money, food, and cloth, then ran into the night, disappearing into the darkness. For days, Osandu walked, carrying his new fortune with him. He did not stop until he reached a distant village called Obodo Iche. It was a big trading town, full of merchants and buyers. He rented a small shop and began his trade. Unlike his wicked master, Osandu was fair. He treated his apprentices with kindness. He fed them well, paid them on time, and taught them the secrets of business. "Work hard," he told them, "but never cheat those who trust you." Word spread. Traders from different villages came to buy from him. People respected him. His name became great in all of Igbo land. But back in Umuagu, things were not the same for Master Ukadik. The morning after Osandu's visit, Ukadik stretched and yawned, feeling like a king. He had eaten a big meal the night before and slept like a baby. He walked lazily to his shop, expecting to count his money and boast about his riches. But the moment he reached the entrance, he froze. The doors were wide open. The shop was empty. Not a single yam, not a single bag of salt, not even a kobo was left. His breath caught in his throat. His head spun. He staggered inside, looking around wildly. "No! No! This cannot be!" he cried. He ran to his house, hoping his family had saved something. But when he opened his treasury, it was as empty as the shop. Ukadiki grabbed his head. His whole body shook. He ran out of his house, screaming, "The gods have punished me! Somebody help me!" He ran to the village shrine, his knees hitting the ground as he cried before the priest. "Great spirits, my wealth is gone! Help me!" The shrine was silent. Then, suddenly, a deep voice filled the air. It came from nowhere and everywhere at the same time. "You cheated the one who served you," the voice said. "Now, the spirits have taken back what is theirs." Ukadiki fell to the ground. He wailed and beat his chest. But it was too late. His riches were gone. His power was gone. And this was only the beginning. Many years passed. Osandu had everything he once dreamed of: wealth, respect, and a thriving business. But something in his heart felt empty. One evening, as he sat outside his big house, he sighed. "I must go back to Umuagu," he said to himself. His apprentices looked at him with surprise. "Master, why would you want to go back there?" one of them asked. Osandu smiled. "I need to see something for myself." He dressed in simple clothes, took a small bag, and traveled back to the village that once made him suffer. When he arrived at Umuagu, things looked the same, but something felt different. He walked to the market square, where traders shouted about their goods and children ran around playing. Then his eyes caught a man sitting on the ground, leaning against a broken clay pot. His clothes were torn, his face was thin, and his hands shook as he held out a calabash, begging for food. Osandu stopped. It was Ukadike. The once powerful man was now nothing but a beggar. Osandu walked forward, his footsteps slow and steady. He stood in front of Ukadike and dropped a few cowries into the broken calabash. Ukadike's weak fingers touched the coins, and he looked up. His eyes met Osandu's. He froze. Ukadike's lips trembled. His eyes, once full of pride, were now filled with shock. "You, Osandu?" His voice was barely a whisper. Osandu nodded. "Yes, master. Do you remember me?" Tears filled Ukadike's eyes. He struggled to sit up straight, but his body was too weak. He dropped his head in shame. "I was wrong," Ukadike said. His voice broke. "I let greed destroy me. The spirits punished me. My wealth is gone. My family left me. I have nothing. Forgive me, my son." Osandu stared at the man who had once made his life miserable. The man who had sent him away with nothing. The man who laughed when he begged for his rightful reward. Now, Ukadik was the one begging. The silence between them was heavy. People in the market watched, waiting to see what would happen. Then, Osandu reached into his satchel. He pulled out a bag of cowries and placed it in Ukadik's hands. Ukadik's fingers shook as he felt the weight of the money. His eyes widened in disbelief. "Take this," Osandu said. His voice was calm but firm. "Start again, but this time be a better man." Ukadik let out a deep cry and covered his face with his hands. Osandu turned and walked away. The wind blew softly, carrying his words away with it. The story of Osandu and Ukadike would never be forgotten. Ukadike used the money Osandu gave him to start a small business. He no longer lived in a big house, but at least he had food to eat. He treated his new apprentices well, and for the first time in his life, he knew what it meant to be honest. Meanwhile, Osandu could not stop thinking about other young boys like him, boys who worked day and night, only to be cheated by their masters. "This must stop," he said one evening, sitting with his apprentices. The next day, Osandu sent messages to traders and apprentices across the land. He called for a great meeting at the market square. When the day came, the place was full. Old traders, young apprentices, village elders. Everyone came to hear what the great Osandu had to say. He stood before them and raised his hand. "No master will cheat an apprentice again," his voice echoed. The people murmured. Some traders frowned. Some apprentices nodded with hope. "We will form a guild," Osandu continued. "A guild that will protect every apprentice. Any master who refuses to settle his apprentice will face the spirits." The crowd gasped. Fear gripped the wicked masters. That day, the Nwaboy Guild was born. From that time on, no trader dared to cheat an apprentice. If they tried, strange things happened. Yams rotted overnight, money disappeared, shops burned without fire. The spirits were watching. For the first time in history, apprentices had power. Osandu thought his work was done. But he was wrong. One day, a new challenge came knocking. One afternoon, as Osandu rested under a big tree, a young boy walked up to him. His clothes were torn, and his face looked tired. "Master Osandu," the boy said, his voice shaking, "I have served my master for 7 years. He promised to settle me, but now he has sent me away with nothing." Osandu's chest tightened. This was his own story all over again. "What is your name?" Osandu asked. "Ikenna," the boy replied. Osandu placed a hand on Ikenna's shoulder. "Do not be afraid. The guild will fight for you." That evening, Osandu called the guild elders. They sent a message to Ikenna's master, commanding him to come to the village square. When the master arrived, he stood before the elders with his arms crossed, his face full of pride. "Will you settle this boy, or will you suffer like those before you?" the eldest man asked. The master laughed. "You have no power over me," he said. A deep wind blew through the square. The fire in the torches flickered wildly. The elders looked at each other. Osandu stepped forward. He looked the master in the eye and whispered, "Then let the spirits decide." The ground beneath them trembled. The master's smile disappeared. The spirits have spoken, but the story is not over. What do you think happened next? Did the master escape his fate? Or did justice finally catch up with him? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you love powerful stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next thrilling tale. Turn on notifications because more shocking stories are coming your way. Blast off.